Hello, everybody. I'm Eric Bowling along with Kimberly Guilfoyle, Bob Beckel, Dana Perino, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. The Obama re-election campaign is imploding right in front of our eyes, all because of this short comment.
The private sector is doing fine.
Sure, everyone deserves a break once in a while, a gaffe. But that short thought exposes the real President Obama, a president who's blind to the plight of average Americans, a man who thinks Detroit, being just days away from bankruptcy, is doing fine, a man who thinks 100% increase in food stamps is doing fine, and a man who thinks attending 154 fundraisers while America struggles to put food on the table is doing fine. Charlie Sheen, Tiger Woods, Mel Gibson all experienced epic falls from grace when their ominous undercarriages were exposed. Barack Obama exposed his ominous undercarriage with those two words: doing fine.
Ominous undercarriage?
Yeah, do you like that? Did you like that?
Sounds like a death metal band.
Well, I think President Obama exposed something.
If it isn't,
He
it should
exposed
be.
his ominous undercarriage?
Yeah,
What do you know that we don't know, Bowling?
Hey, just out of curiosity, since you made the point about, he said the public sector was doing well, and then you went on to do three. You did Detroit, which is not the public sector. You did food stamps, which is not the public sector, and you did fundraising, which is not the public sector. By the way, last month, what's his name, Mitt Romney, did 33 fundraisers. Barack Obama 11.
I actually, Barack Obama said the private sector is doing just fine. Whose phone is on?
I don't know. Yours. Bowling.
It's mine.
Bowling.
No, but Dana, let's talk about that a little bit. When the private sector is doing just fine, everyone said it was a gaffe. Oh my gosh, look what happened. But did he not expose something? Did he not tell the world what he's really thinking?
Well, that was the thing on Friday, that as soon as he said that at about 10:35 in the morning, everyone knew what the headline was coming out of that day for political use during that 24-hour period. It lasted through the Sunday shows, and then we get to this morning, and you start to have more of a look at what did he mean by that. One of the things he was arguing is that government plays a role in the economy, that state and local workers are an important part, that we should make sure that we keep those roles up and that we continue to help them, which that is out. It's not that people are against anyone who works in the public sector personally. It's that the differences between the private sector and the public sector when it's come to the effects of the recession have been severe. And when he says that the private sector is doing fine and trying to help the public sector, which by any measure is doing better than the private sector, then he got a little what is it? Twisted around the axle?
Here's the thing. But Axelrod,
Right.
Axelrod claims that this comment was taken out of context, where is this mythical context where all of Obama's phrases make sense? Can we all move to this mythical land of context where we can understand him?
Yeah,
Hold on.
you're in it,
But Greg,
unicorn boy.
stay on this for a second. Greg, Axelrod over the weekend. Oh, he's making faces.
Yeah.
Axelrod over the weekend said that the comment was taken out of context, but that's after Barack Obama already
Clarified the
walked
context.
back the comment.
It was a clarification of a clarification. The fact is, the animosity towards the private sector is palpable. And to Obama, in a weird way, the private sector is like the uncool parent who has to fund your failures. It's like he has to keep going back and depending on them to pay for his public failing life.
What do you say?
Yeah, let me tell you, I think that having Axelrod go out, who isn't the most likable or articulate individual to defend you, guess what? Because no one else is left standing. It's like Clinton, Cory Booker, Bueller, nobody left. So Axelrod goes out there, doesn't do a good job of it, and they're really alienating fast the private sector, and it's not working for them.
Well, first of all, if we could try to make just a little point of relationship to the public at large, the Sunday talk shows are. Nobody watches them outside of Boston. I mean, Washington and New York. And I mean, the average American doesn't follow those things. But having said that, Dana said the public sector is doing by every measure better than the private sector. In the last 27 months, there have been 4.5 million jobs created in the private sector, and the public sector has lost 500,000.
Right.
But for every, let me just read you something.
You just
This
say,
is from
okay,
KeithHennessy.com. That for every net lost government job since employment peaked in January of 2008, the U.S. economy has lost more than 11 private sector jobs. So 1 to 11 is not very good rate.
Before
Those
you
are bad
jump in,
numbers.
let's pull up a full screen. Let's see who's doing better, who's doing fine in actuality, the public sector or the private sector. Federal employee wages. This is directly from the Bureau Bureau of Labor Statistics, $73,000 a year. You go to the private employee wage, $47,000 a year on average. How about this one? The unemployment rate among federal workers, Bob, 4.2%. Unemployment rate amongst private employees. We don't have the actual number, but it has to be above 8.2% because 4.2% of public sector workers are in that number.
But you're not counting the 500,000 people who've lost their jobs in the state and county and local governments.
That counts everything. That's
But Dave, remember, we had
It's federal jobs.
after the stimulus job, there was Son of Stimulus, and Son of Stimulus was the bridge to help the state and local governments. That now money has run out. What President Obama didn't, I don't think, said clearly enough is that if he believes that we need to have more stimulus money to go to state and federal governments, I wish they'd be a little bit more explicit about it and then lay out a plan for why that makes a lot of
Well,
sense.
they have. They've got it sitting on Capitol Hill, and the Republicans refuse to
But
do
why?
it.
But no, Senator Harry Reid schedules floors, a debate, and votes, and he hasn't called it up for a reason. They can't pass it.
Well,
they have the majority.
The fact is that whether you agree or disagree, at least in the House, they won't vote on it in the House. Why not bring it up? If you're going to beat it, you've got this backward-looking no House that was going to vote against anything Obama has anyway. So now just defeat it.
But
If you got any
let's
guts.
stay on topic. President Obama, off teleprompter, makes a comment like that, walks it back, and they spend the next 3 days trying to damage control. Didn't he expose his ugly undercarriage?
I think what he was trying. I think he exposed a lack of discipline, and as Dana has often said, there's been too much time on TV for him. But the fact of the matter is that the public sector in corporate America has record profits, and they're not hiring people.
But
Now,
the
I have my own
difference is
conspiracy
between-
theory about that. I think 'cause corporate America is mostly Republican, and they don't want to hire people till a Republican gets to be
I
president.
think if they spent a little bit more time on Main Street than on Rodeo Drive, that they would see that most of those main streets are empty. There's not businesses because you can't get the capital, because you don't have the certainty about what the tax
Right.
rates are going to be. You're worried about hiring people because you're not sure what the healthcare piece is going to be. If they would just get some more certainty that they could put into the economy, then I think things could get along.
I haven't
many
seen Mitt Romney on
regulations.
Main Street in
Hang
4
in there.
months.
Hang in there. Speaking of Mitt Romney, this kind of threw me for a loop a little bit because this was blowing up on Friday. I actually thought that was going to be President Obama's, Waterloo moment. Listen to what Mitt Romney said Friday afternoon.
He wants another stimulus. He wants to hire more government workers. He says we need more firemen, more policemen, more teachers. Did he not get the message of Wisconsin? The American people did. It's time for us to cut back on government and help the American people.
Dana, sometimes, I'll get to you in 1 second. I know you want to jump on this, Bob, but sometimes it's best just to let the zeitgeist go.
Yeah,
Just
sometimes
let-
you don't
let it
need to
breathe.
say anything at
Right.
all. Just let it go because
breathe.
and let President Obama's words speak for themselves. Because what Mitt Romney there did was give them an opening to create an ad against him, saying that he doesn't care about the most important public workers that we have: teachers, firefighters, and police officers. Even though I don't think that's necessarily true, but that's. Again, context
Right.
is a mythical place.
He probably
let's
should've let
put
it
it in
breathe.
some context. When he was, the reason that he has a war on public employees and teachers and firemen and policemen, when he was the governor of Massachusetts, he cut jobs in all 3 of those sectors, and he even vetoed a bill for $1 million for safety equipment for firefighters. Now, if this is a guy that's in touch and understands Main Street as opposed to certain cities around America,
I'm sure
particularly
there's
the
no
West.
context that goes along with that.
Yeah.
Like,
No, what's the
well,
con-
why they have
well,
those
get me the
cuts.
context. I have the facts. Give me the context.
Well, I don't know because Bob, I didn't go back and look at Mitt Romney's record. I don't know anything about the firefighter thing. I'm sure that in 20 minutes I could have got an answer if I'd known anything about it. So I don't. The context probably exists, and it's unfair to do it to Obama as it is to any candidate that's running to bring something up like that and just say that they cut firefighters. Well, was there an excess? Was
Yeah.
there a money problem? Was there a budget problem? Let's look at it.
That's like a
Can
topic
I get
sentence
you-
without
can
the
I ask you a
paragraph.
question?
Yeah.
What goes on in the Romney camp when he hears President Obama say, hey, the private sector is doing just fine? They go, wow, this is going to blow up big. What do? They
They
say,
wanna
let's
ma-
go
yeah.
out there and show everyone that we agree. We're going to
They want to
shine a light on
maximize it, right? So they want to play their card, okay? So that's the problem. But yeah, they should have probably let it breathe, right? Because it kind of handled itself on its own. But he also doesn't want to be criticized for not taking that opportunity to taking his chance at bat and hitting it out because he's going to get criticized. Hey, you're another John McCain, and
That's
you're
exactly
not a
You know
winner.
who criticized him? You know the first person to criticize him was Scott Walker, the governor of Wisconsin, who came out and said Mitt Romney doesn't really get the message here very well. And
Because his thing was that they were able to reduce the deficit and they were able to do that in a way in dealing with collective bargaining, so that they were able to actually not have to lay off teachers, and they excluded firefighters.
Are you
and
saying
cops.
Romney didn't step in and this is another one of Romney? You asked me.
No, I did. I said I'm giving context,
Yes. Oh,
which
context.
is kind of what I get paid to do.
Look, the great thing about President Obama
true.
and the candidate Mitt Romney is that they're creating jobs, and they're creating jobs for cable talk show hosts who sit around all day trying to figure out what Obama said and what Mitt Romney should have said. God bless both of them, because we wouldn't have a show right now
and
if
what
it wasn't
words
for
you
Mitt or Obama.
Greg,
Thank you both.
You're showing your ominous undercarriage. Right
It is ominous. I've got to go to a doctor.
I bet it's ugly too.
gotta do something about
Oh my
that.
goodness! Now it's time to go. Coming up, did you believe President Obama when he said there's no way the national security leaks came from his White House? We have some new information to help you decide, and Kimberly takes the case next.